Hey guys, it's Al from Altruistic Channel, and I woke up today to Galadriel, wake up, and I was like, what the? It was at 5 in the morning. I thought I had to pee, but I just kept hearing Galadriel, Galadriel, and I was like, what the fuck is Galadriel? And then I got this image of the Lord of the Rings, where Galadriel is putting on a ring, and there's an immense power that surges through her, and then she comes back to herself and she says, I would pass the test. I am still myself. And I remember when I saw the image, well, I saw the little video, if you will, there was an understanding that came through me. I had been feeling this energy um, of, I'd been feeling this energy of a little bit of concern because I knew that we were at a switching point globally. And I knew that somehow there was a leadership role that I was to play in this, and I was so not trying to be egoish about it that it was actually the ego trying to, in a way, to deflect it so that I wouldn't embrace the truth, which is when you go home, you're supposed to see yourself. It's supposed to be you. It's supposed to be you answering the door. And I was expecting something else because I was letting the ego trick me into thinking that it's its last gasp for air, I guess. It just wanted to be there and wanted to still be in control of the journey. And sure enough, as soon as I realized that epiphany, I literally saw myself. What Opal said would happen. I knocked on the door of my new home, and I opened the door to myself, and I just remember going, hey, it is you. I thought it was you. And then the other side of me went, yep, it was always me. Welcome home. And that was the extent of the conversation. And then I kind of was like, okay. And then I just kept hearing, Galadriel, go back to sleep. Galadriel, sleep for another couple hours. So I went back to take a nap. And I woke up in a really peaceful place, but with very clear messaging. Okay. Energy is an interesting thing. Going back to the previous video that I posted about how the brain, how this whole planet is just one big cosmic brain. It's a function within the switchboard of the universe. And each of us are acting in brain cell formality in our lifetimes, right? We're finishing chain of events. We're following our what we call karmic lessons, which is actually lessons that must be learned in order to get from point A to point B, which then becomes point A to point Z because of all the things that factor in that we consider karmic, which is still true. By the way, all of this is still right. That's why I always say truth is truth no matter what, and truth is truth in many multiple ways, and they contradict each other. And the reason I say that is because it came to me in a very clear picture. It was the four horsemen of I can't say it. Apocalypse. I speak Spanish and English, so when I curse, I tend to say it in Spanish. I don't really endorse Spanglish, but fuck it. um, in my personal space, I always go. I think sometimes in Spanish I say things in English, and even though English is my only language, well, primary language, Spanish is prevalent. It's just something I grew up with. But bygones. Tangent. It was the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and I was sitting on one of the horses, and I realized that what I'd always been, it was just like a very clear depiction of something. The war and strife and hate and death that come with the apocalypse would be for the patriarchal system that is falling. For those of you who are in alignment, and those of you who are spiritual and are part of the actual universal consciousness, they don't represent that to you, do they? They represent, instead of war, they represent peace. It is the restoration of peace. So they become the peace catalyst. And then, in place of death, it becomes life. For those that are willing to live life the way it needs to be lived according to your own divine plan, then you receive it as life affirming, life rewarding. You receive it as abundance. So strife becomes abundance. And I just remember thinking, well, that totally makes sense to me. Because the back of my head kept saying, there was like a lower frequency that kept tapping in from time to time, trying to do like these psychic little attacks, which of course is comical to me now, about how I was a false prophet. And then I just remember thinking at some point, but a false prophet is something that is Catholic. It's something that's based on a Bible. It's something based on the old way of thinking that's not wrong. There's so much truth to most things, but we're leaving that patriarchal system. God is not vengeful, hateful. The divine is nothing like that. The divine is balancing its femininity. And so that's where the energy changed, and the energy became more important than the labels we've attached to it. I'm sitting in a bed of dandelions, if you can see around me, because they represent sunlight. And in the dandelions, I'm looking, and it represents all of you. Watch. All of that is human beings. All those little yellow, beautiful little sunlights. And all the little green and all of Earth. It is representative of the globe in a microcosm. Microcosm. I don't know. I'm not good on the verbiage. I don't take myself seriously enough to like worry about that shit. As a writer, I'm like a writer who worries about substance and doesn't give a shit about the way that it comes out. But I don't get stuck in the small stuff. I get stuck on the meaning of things. I don't know. Anyway, so I kept getting attracted to this little patch of heaven here, and I realized it's our lives. All these little yellow lights are just like stars in the sky. I'm no longer trying to survive. To me, life is a prize, but to live doesn't mean you're alive. That's Nicki Minaj. Jamila channeled that, and it's starting to make a lot more sense to me. But if you look in the middle of all the yellow, there are these beautiful little purple flowers. I don't know if you can see that. That is what you would call enlightened. That is what you would call spiritual people. Just as beautiful as all of the other beautiful yellow dandelions, there are these purple flowers that are just blossoming and just beautiful and striking because of the contrast to the yellow. And then right next to me as I sat down, I saw this little boy. I hope you can get this one. That little white flower right there, it's purity. It is a weed. Metaphor. And there are not many of them. It's just like every so often you'll find like a little conduit of energy, these little weeds that pop up in the middle of weeds that look different. It reminds me of the light strand analogy that I did about, is it an analogy or metaphor? I can never remember. But the point is, I'm getting y'all, like, I forgot my name yesterday. Like, this whole leveling up thing, it's a blessing, but at the same time, every now and then I'm just like, where am I going? What's happening? And I don't mean like in life. That part's clear, but I can't remember what I was doing short term. And I'm just like, wait, was I going to the bathroom? And I'm like, no. What's my name? Like that. Like, I get stuck on stupid. It's kind of funny. And of course it makes me laugh. It makes me just hysterically laugh. But then I want you to see if you can see this particular part of the little world that I'm sitting in. Over there is a deep red patch of weed that is discolored from the rust of it. It's tainted. It's something that happened, I guess, from either a car or something that was sitting on top of it. And though it looks dead, it very much is still part of the world. So now we have these different layers. So we have the yellow dandelions, the purple beautiful flowers that stand up like towers, and then we have these little red patches of dead weeds, almost toxic aspects to it, if looked at from a lower frequency. And then you have these wonderful, beautiful flowers of purity that stand alone in a sea of illusion. And you start to get the world within a world within a world within a world within a world. You're all going on a journey. And it's not going to be fun. But you're going to be grateful. The dangers are real, though. And that's the thing that I have to get to now. So, as I had already started to feel the elders coming up. And what I mean by elders is that these are beings that, I don't know if I'm involved in this anymore because I'm not grandiose about who I am. I'm very humble. I just have a lot of wisdom that seems very ancient that I'm tapping into. But that doesn't make me any better than anybody else. This is done through study. I studied a lot. I've observed a lot. I've been through everything you can imagine, from rape to child molestation to cults to torture to adversity to homelessness, which a lot of you are about to experience to some degree. Nomadic lifestyle, not knowing what's going to happen from day to day. And I can tell you that at this point, when you get to this spot in life, you have no worries whatsoever except one, and that is love. So, but the reason I say that is because the elders are these little white flowers of purity that are popping up in this little area here. They seem almost organic, and they're so overlooked because of the beautiful yellow and purple everywhere that you don't stop and see the purity to the white. And how beautiful each strand is. And it reminds me of that strand that on a Christmas tree, that one strand of color in an all-white tree. They think they're ugly, or they think that they're abominations, or they've been told their whole life that they are weird because they're surrounded by these white purity. It's the opposite spectrum. It's all these white lights going, why are you flashing? Why are you, like, fucking up our tree? Why are you saying these things? Why are you doing these things? Why are you blah, 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 blah? Meanwhile, to the universe and to the human looking at the tree, what is their favorite part of that fucking tree? Those beautiful, blinking, glowing, colored lights. Which, of course, is another metaphor. Or analogy, whatever. No, metaphor. It's a metaphor in this case. I don't know. Don't get lost in it. That's why That's why I always. That's why I knew that ego was dying, because I used to care about that shit, and now I could give a fuck. You guys know what I mean. And if you do care about it, then this is not for you. You're nowhere near ready for this, and you're about to go through hell. But that is your lesson to learn. Here's the interesting part. I would never want to hurt anybody, and I don't want anybody to experience what they're about to go to. But before I can get to the kind of harsher part of the lessons that are coming, let's get to the part that I need to get to, specifically what the Galadriel reference was to. Galadriel is about to meet, formally, someone that she has been with, or in this case, that I've been with, in the 5D. And here's the interesting part. They are kings of the 3D, and apparently, according to this, I am a king of the 5D, the wisdom aspect, the etheric part of it, the spirituality. I've spent enough time studying and living life to not let anything in life, I've mastered the 3D part of it, in the sense that it doesn't faze me like it phases everybody else. I let it happen for about a minute, and then I go, oh, okay, I'm bored with this, and then I move on with that emotion. But I don't deny it, because sometimes it goes on for an hour, you know what I mean? Like, I just let it roll and funnel it right through, because otherwise you get stuck in this mind trip. Shout out to my girl, Mind Trip. I'm going to take you on a mind trip. Who's another light, by the way, that is super shiny right now to me. And we'll get to the whole way my brain is functioning now. So, I open the door, and it's me, and it was flashing the Galadriel thing, and then there's a guy that's standing behind me. Here's the interesting part about reaching a state of purity in the mental space. Because now I'm showing up as not just a king of water, I'm showing up as a king of staves. And the other party is showing up as the king of pentacles, and also the king of swords. There's a duality that emerges here. But with purity comes pure love. And in love incarnate, if it's the real deal, if you are in right alignment, then you are starting to meet people in your circle that stand out to you. And so there were 3 energy sources that were predominant in my sphere, and I only know one of them. The other 2 were just cosmic pulls. One is in Florida, I believe, and is a mogul. But that hasn't gone anywhere. So that, I don't know if that ever will go anywhere, because now I'm being pulled, and this is why the message is very clear. This week is going to change our lives, all of us collectively. But mine, when Saturn goes into Aquarius on Saturday, my fate is kind of sealed, and I'm embracing it, and I love it, and it is what it is. There's supposed to be another party with me. So the stalemate situation in Florida might be something that happens later, and I get that. I'm cool with that. He's super cool. I've never met him, but I've written about him in my book, and he turned me on in a mental way, and also a physical way. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and say, I mean, I'm a guy, but here's the interesting part. I've been sitting here struggling with the whole like, why am I so adamant about being gay? What's so big about being gay? It's just a personality thing, and I realized it wasn't the gay. It's that I've spent 41 years in the masculine energy. And now I'm being tasked with stepping into the feminine aspect of the gay aspect to meet myself, to this man masculine. Because the partner that I am about to literally, I mean, like the energy, we're already together. Like this, this is pretty, I mean, I feel him. I mean, I know who it, anyway, bygones. Okay. So in this relationship, I will be the feminine, I will be the queen aspect to the kingship there. But I couldn't have gotten here. And understand that I'm still emperor walking into it as of Saturday. I don't know if that's all true. I don't like labels, and I'm not really comfortable with that, but they're kind of just giving it to me the way that they want me to say it, so whatever. Yeah. You know, at some point you have to allow the blessings to be, and if you deny the fact that you could ever be emperor, then how the fuck are you going to be emperor? So I'll take it, whatever. It is what it is. When, when I say whatever, sorry, I'm not saying whatever, like, as if as disregard. I'm just saying whatever as in, I don't take it seriously enough for it to factor either way. I'm balanced in that state, so just take it that way. But I'm stepping into the feminine in the relationship, which means that I'm very loving. But here's the thing. There's a strong Queen of Wands here, and this is where it gets interesting. So, honey, you are either the Libra in my life, who I am absolutely in love with, but there is an element that I can't get over. He is definitely straight. 100%. He keeps saying that straight. But he is my doppelganger as far as emotional, spiritual, all of that stuff. He would be what I thought would be the one. But then I realized that if you're pure of soul, then your best friend can trigger you into being a little confused on it if you're gay. He is not gay. And so in order to honor the relationship, I have to trust him unless that somehow changes, which I seriously doubt. You're not going to wake up one day and be like, oh, I was straight, now I'm gay. Like, that's not going to happen. You'd have to seriously agree to that. So I don't think that's going to happen. So I have to allow for the fact that he is just my platonic lifetime partner, and I could not be more happy with that. So that takes me to the other energy who has been on my YouTube page. Here's the interesting part. I purposely was blocked from looking at this person's channel because of the fact that we were tapping into each other's energy and we both needed to arrive to each other in standalone ways because of the ego. And so now that my ego is completely annihilated with the whole Galadriel thing, I love the Divine. Divine has a sense of humor. Galadriel, wake up, wake up. David has come into my view. Now, here's the interesting part about David. All of last year, there kept coming up this Leo thing. And I kept thinking it was because I was a Leo rising, and then I just realized that was just another clue. It wasn't my Leo rising. I'm still 100% Cancer, blended with Leo as a masculine. But there is an aspect to that was like screaming from the universe. It was just another clue that I overlooked. And it was a detail that I needed to look back on. I believe he's kind of far from me. Distance is not relevant here. Honey, if I'm right about you, you sexy beast, we're already together and you know it. And there's something here that is one of us is apprehensive. So let me put it to you this way. I may seem like I've mastered something, but I don't believe in mastership. I believe that we're constantly learning. There's no such thing as a guru. There's only a relationship with you and the divine, and you are being tasked with rising to the occasion and facing what's coming. That's it. I'm not here to preach to you. I'm just giving you my life story, and I'm showing you how I've walked my path. My husband is an astrological genius. And I'm finally every day for the past week now it's been #1 on my YouTube suggestion list, and it has not stopped. It has been him after him after him after him after him. And so finally I just went, okay, maybe it's him. Because again, the only other energy that's actually showing up is what might be my best friend. This is like serious, like this is like, oh, opening up. This is where your ego's gone, is because I'm not worried. If either one of these people turns out to not be, like if these both turn out to just be friends or business partners or whatever, I'm still not going to be embarrassed by it. I still have pure love for them. That is what love is. It's love incarnate. And if you're afraid of it, then ask yourself, what are you afraid of? What, that they're going to be dismissive? Okay, so they're dismissive. They're not ready for it. At some point, they will be. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on the same frequency. Anyway, bygones. I don't have to defend this, but I just wanted you to know. So, where I might seem like I have a spiritual matrix master, is the way that it was phrased to me, which I thought was really funny. Spiritual matrixy, is what they said. He has astrological matrix. And the moment that he understands that his action is required at this time, and this is where the Queen of Wands in me comes out. You're studying me and you're trying to figure out how to approach the subject. Here's the thing. All you have to do is call me. Just call me. 504-515-4412. The reason is because we both know that though time is not real, it is an illusion. Saturn goes into Aquarius on Saturday. New Orleans is going to, where I'm at, is going to be someplace I need to exit. I don't know how that's going to come. But the high frequency in me can't help but notice the strain that this whole thing is putting on the lower frequencies. It has to pop. And if I don't get out, I know what will happen. And I can't afford to let that happen now. Not with the path that's in front of me. And so they're going to move me one way or the other, whether it's according to my will or very nastily. And so I'm being tasked with speaking to you about it, honey. Because our energies are supposed to be together during this particular thing. And so though we may appear to be separate in distance, the moment that we have this conversation, everything works out. And it will work out either way, in the way that it's meant to. They're just two very distinct paths. And honestly, honey, I've done the suffering. I am not interested in it. I know I'm being realigned quickly. I know that so are you, and I know this might be a little frightening, but there's so much that I can learn from you. And there's so much that you can learn from me in partnership in every way. Our love is unreal, dude. Like, it's unfucking real. And it's gonna be like that. Like, it's two dudes walking around basically going, dude. Like, just, like, almost like two California dudes. Which is a shout out there. And so I am basically waiting for the conversation to be had from either side of it. And then here's the interesting part. There seems to be this ongoing conversation, and this is for everybody in the cosmos, about the return of your past. Here's an interesting part. Don't get stuck in it being this lifetime. The person that I'm thinking of and I have never met in this existence so far. But we have met in another consciousness. That I know. In fact, one of us is here to finish out a cycle of lifetime-long loving relationship. Something that the other person did not get because something happened. And there's theories, none of them are necessarily good, but I'm not worried about the past. What I'm worried about is the present. And here's the interesting part. We can look at this as karmic lessons and that we're just soulmates, or you can realize this is divine union. This is not going to be people necessarily like, especially if it's who I think it is. And I could be wrong. I'm not standing in my fucking way. Let me put that way. It could be somebody that I went out with in the past. I just don't see that happening, though, because the people who left my life seem to be gone forever. And whereas other people are already having... Oh, there's the horn. Those that did me wrong, quote unquote, have been wiped. I don't even think of them anymore. And it was really, and not in an ego way or not in a judgy way, but I have to use my judgment now, and so I'm not going to stay here for the lower frequency that's going to anchor me into a where I'm going to die. That's essentially what that path will lead to. You see, no matter how high frequency you are, at some point you have to interact with the world at large. And so if you are an elder or a chosen, or if you're just in spiritual alignment, if you are being told to leave, leave. So that's where you come in, honey. I can make it to where you are, even if I have to hitchhike out of this fucking shit. But it will take you and I having a conversation about whether or not we can even be truly friends here, whether you feel the connection, and whether or not you're willing to finally invest. And that's from the divine. Because what's happening is that one way or the other, I'm going to be shoved. And the divine's very sweet about it. It's not a penalty to me, and it's not a penalty to you, but the ships must move. Our arcs are leaving where we're at. And so I'm supposed to tell you what I'm about. So, because I guess you've been studying me. I don't go by ego. I go by what I feel. My intuition is exceedingly high. And I look at life through patterns. And I look for differentials. And I base things on anomaly. So I pay special attention to matrix breaks, which is something that's about to occur. And the veils will be lifted. And people are going to be... They call it quantum jumping. We're going to do a quantum leap forward. Now, it's exceedingly important that the chosen or the elders, the energies that are being pulled together so strenuously. I mean, if it is you, honey, you know who I am, and you're going to be watching this, and you're going to be like, shit, I better call. And yeah, I would. Because we don't, I mean, even if it's not physically possible to be, it is the energies must be in union. You know what I mean? Like, it must be a physical 3D thing, because the 5D is pushing hard. Your higher self, my higher self, I mean, I'm technically all one and the same, but these brain cells that we're active in are being pushed together in a very, very quick way, and I know you feel it. And it may be somebody from my past. I mean, I could be completely wrong. I'm totally not above being wrong, because I'm here to learn too, you know. I'm not, that's why I refuse to be a master. I may be a masturbator, but I'm not going to be a master. Like, I'm going to be a masturbator. Well, hopefully not with my honey bunny, but... So here's what you get with me. You get an intuitive person who understands a spiritual side of life, that believes in things that not you, honey, but like in general, that people do not understand or register yet. But I will say this, my accuracy is 100% in what I've said would happen. That's not ego. That's something the divine wants me to point out to you specifically, because you have that gift with something called astrology, from what I can understand. And your energy is very sweet, by the way. I know that you come across very tough. By the way, that is part of the attraction, so don't get it twisted. Because I'm having to step into this feminine part, I'm already a warrior, so I'm marrying a warrior. So if you are not a warrior, if you are not I mean, you can be a love warrior, because that's the other energy in my life right now. Is someone who has mastered love, a balance of absolute love. And when I look into his eyes, he gives me that flutter, but I cannot change someone. And that's the lesson. It's a lesson in karma. It's, do you sit there and anchor yourself to an energy that is right for you, but in a platonic way, and then lust after that person? Or do you literally feel your way through and understand that there's a bigger energy pulling you in another direction, possibly? Because in the end, both parties, either one, if one turns out to be the one, then he's going to have to step forward now, is what I'm basically saying. Because I can only do so much without putting all of the answers, and that's not how this works. This is a partnership. And on the flip side, it's interesting, because the way that they present you is that you are a king of pentacles, and I'm a king of staves, which I find hysterical. It just cracks me up. It actually came up in a tarot reading I did this morning. It was a ridiculous tarot reading. It was so amazing. I might show the cards later. It came out, I kid you not, it was what was it? It was the World, then it was the Judgment, then it was the Wheel of Fortune, and then the Sun. First fucking line, I kid you not. That's how important our union is. So anyway, so the conversation needs to be had. So here's who I am. I am someone who loves with my entire existence. It's going to be one of those loves where don't get it twisted. I will be the first one to go New Orleanian on you if you go too far, because I'm looking for a warrior. So 2 warriors together, it should be a very, very magnetic thing. But the interesting part is there won't be conflict. It will literally be a tongue-in-cheek inside joke type of thing. I'll be like, motherfucker, and like fun stuff, like it's gonna be just fun. But I love with my life, and I will never cheat. That is a guarantee. Neither one of us can cheat, actually, I don't think. I mean, anybody, it's free will. But because of the level of connection we have, I don't think it's practical. I don't think that... And plus, what we're going to build is unbelievably strong. Because, see, you have this ability to manifest. You're like a magician to me. You manifest in the 3D in ways that are super successful and materialized. It's like an earth fire energy, whereas I'm more in the etheric water fire energy. Well, water and air. I'm kind of like, yeah. So maybe the water and sword, I don't know, but somewhere in that family. And so we're showing up in duality, 2 different counterpoints from each other. So it would be like earth and fire, and then water and air. You know what I mean? And kingships. And so the interesting part is that we're building, when I say an empire, ooh, honey. I don't think we would ever want to get divorced because this is going to be some shit. And it's a reward for living in our authenticity. And it has not been easy for you either, from what I'm gathering. But it's a love that no one's ever seen before, and it's between 2 men. A balanced agents, by the way, of both male and feminine in the dynamic. But because I was born a Cancer Leo, and you were born Lion, and, other parts. Oh, and I'm supposed to tell you this. For some reason, my guides keep saying, tell him who you are. Okay. I have 3 parts Cancer, 3 parts Leo, 2 parts Taurus, and 2 parts Scorpio. I don't know why that's relevant to you, sweetheart, but there you go. And then there's 2 random ones that are in there. Oh, I don't think I have anything. No, I think I have a Capricorn. And then I have a Libra. I think that's the 12. Notice that there are complete signs that are not part of my chart whatsoever. I'm assuming that's you. But I don't know why that's important. I guess because you're an astrological genius, but... And by the time that you're hearing this, it's just confirmation, I guess. And the world can see it. I mean, the world's going to see it anyway because of who we are. And so, that's part of the ego thing that I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to. And then I realized, hey, that's not my ego. I'm okay with the whole world knowing. I want the world to see this. I want the world to see what true love looks like. I want the world to see what it looks like when 2 kings meet each other and become emperors. I want to see what 2 queens look like when they become empresses. I want to see what it looks like when the elders step into their power, into their world. When they show the entire world, the dandelions, that you can become a purple flower and then evolve into a white flower of purity. None of us are better than anyone else, so tap into your source connection. What is it you're afraid of? Do not worry about if God is male or female. That is of the past. God is both. Do not worry if the guy's gay or straight. That is none of your business. If you were secure in yourself, why would that matter? You should be fucking your wife, not worrying about what I'm doing. And so it's like all of these truths that we've kind of all been talking about, but we've kind of been dancing around. My husband and I are not. Like, it's going to be in your face. Now, having said that, honey, I have a feeling we're going to get married pretty quick because it's, already done in the 5D. And we're going to do it privately, first time. And then we'll make a spectacle out of it the second time because, queens. That'll be the queen side of us, the Queen of Wands. Because I think both of us have Queen of Wands in us, and to make matters worse, you have the Queen of Fire, and then on top of it, I have the Queen of Water. So it should be quite an interesting wedding. But I don't want to deprive the world of that at some point because that shit's kind of cute. But it's a love that's internal, and I do mean eternal. There are things that I will reveal to you quickly that will make sense to you. And how our longevity is going to match what we've gone through so far. And you kind of already know this. It's not even ego that's stopping. It's the impracticality of making this leap and thinking that we're somehow going to lose either audience or we're going to lose people that support us. Honey, they're so distracted right now. They are all being thrown into judgment. And in order to get through judgment and get initiated, they have to go through this. They are not worried about us fucking each other or living our lives in bliss. They don't. You know what I mean? Like, understand that we may get fire, a lot of things coming at us at first, but it's because we are almost, think back to the image I had. We might actually be two of the horsemen of the apocalypse. To the Catholic Church, we are like abominations, honey. Like, fuck them. I don't give a fuck. You house child molesters and still haven't rectified that. You speak on behalf of God and the divine and spread hate. I don't give a fuck what you think. Come at me. I'm going to squash you like a bug. And I'm divinely guided to do so. There was an interesting switch. I've been trying to be so peaceful and uplifting. And the divine's like, enough. You're coming into union. You two cannot be this passive. And I was like, okay. Yes, Dad. Like, all right, Dad. You know, it's that kind of like tone. Which, of course, you know, the divine thinks is hysterical. The divine has been studying me as much as I've been studying the divine. Because the people that are stepping into their elder functions, into the seeds of life, into seeding a new way of existence, into however you want to view this change, the switch that's happening. It's a big switch, y'all. Those of you stepping into this are anomalies. You are the warriors that were able to master something. And don't let people take that from you. Just because you don't want to be known as a master. By the way, if you ever fucking call me a guru, I will smack the white off of you or whatever fucking color you are. I will not tolerate that. A guru is someone who wants to make millions of dollars off of that. No, no, no. I'm trying to change the world and I'm trying to make it so the economy survives to that. So the economy that I get, again, see how I see the world differently than most of you. I take in $3, I give out $2. I keep $1 for myself. I mean, God wants me to change that to 4 and 2. He wants it to be a little bit more balanced, but that's why my husband's going to help that out. He's in charge of the money. I mean, I'm joking about that. We both mastered that. But personality-wise meets the soul, meets the higher self. I am a giver that's in danger of giving too much. And so that's where the union comes in with my partner. It's a balancing agent for both of us. And instead of anchoring one or the other, it's going to expand both of our lives to be able to absorb the energy that's going to be coming. So, here's what you get, honey. And I just want to wrap this up because they want me to go on, but it's just one of those, it's not like, I'm not doing like a love poem to my husband. That will be the first conversation we have, I'm sure, but. And by the way, just a phone call and hearing your voice will be all it takes to have eternity with me. That's how I'm going to phrase it. I know it's terribly romantic. It is terribly romantic, I know. But you warm my insides, you activate my solar plexus, and you make me feel alive. Not in a romantic way per se, but trust me, there is going to be a lot of sex. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't think anybody's going to see it. Actually, I want to say this. Has anyone ever stopped to think that those of you who are coming into union have been quarantined for a reason? It's your honeymoon phase. Remember, in April, we blow up. This shit, and that's why I'm to my husband. We are to actively work on this and get this going because either way, I'm going to have to leave New Orleans. I'm not ditching. I'm not running. It's because of who I am and how this will go down. If I stay here, there are people in my life that will come to me and that I will allow to do things. And so I have to put myself in a situation where I'm actively judging it and doing judgmental things like, okay, I can help from a distance. I don't have to be in, because they're not giving me enough of themselves. They're not asking me to come stay with them and help them. They want me to financially, no, baby, that's not how this is going to go. This is your judgment. This is your initiation. And with what happened prior to this, with the way that you did not come to my aid, with the way that you left me to die alone in the streets, I'm not going to do that for you. I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to die and repeat that cycle again. This time, what I'm going to do is I might help out where I can, but I will not be in the vicinity with you, going down with you in your judgment. I've passed my initiation. I'm not going backwards. I'm going forwards. And I'm being told to do so very quickly. That's why I'm talking to my husband right now. So, we both know it's going to be instant, and we both know that once the conversation is had, the plans will move, and between the two of us, we will be together probably within a couple weeks. That's if you act. Now, here's the other thing. I know that you and I are meant to be, so I'm not worried about if it doesn't. It's just going to be a harder road for us because I'm going to be poor. The divine is telling me one way or the other I'm being shoved out of New Orleans, and either I'm going to like it or I'm not going to like it. And so this is a best attempt for me to be very honest with my partner and leave the ego behind and say, honey, We need to talk about this. And if it is one of you, if it is my best friend, because I keep being pulled to him. But here's the thing. Again, I'm not going to get stuck in a cycle where I'm like dealing with somebody who's dealing with their. It's too late for that. There's no waiting anymore. The divine is like, no, 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 no. But you're always going to be part of my life. In fact, you're coming with me in a way. I mean, I'm dragging you with me, kicking, screaming, but you're coming with. I'm not leaving my best friend behind either. But, and that's another dynamic. That's a whole different thing. But the interesting part is that it's a very clear distinction between the two, and it's kind of funny because because it's the purity of love. You know, for me, I was like, oh, maybe romantic, but I don't think so. I honor my best friend. He's too honest with it. He's just walking in his truth. So I can't imagine it's him. So that's why I know it's the other person. Anyway, bygone. So here's what you get, honey. Babbling brook here. I'm a babbling brook. You just get a lifetime of happiness. And the things that we're going to build are going to change and defy gravity. It's going to be things that people haven't thought of yet. It's genius that hasn't happened yet. But it's genius that you and I have been working on privately. But now we're going to be bouncing off of each other. And when I say an empire, I mean that this shit is going to be ridiculous. And you already know that. So let me speak to you about the love that I am. I am probably one of the most loving people on the planet. And I'm giving you all of myself in a cosmic way. The divine phrase it like this. This is going to be your life mate. This is not a soulmate. This is a divine partner that you were essentially created to be with. Because our energy signatures once together will activate the world in a way that's different. It is the purification of a love. It is going to be the personification of what a gay union can look like under God and what it was meant to be. And so each of us are stepping into different roles and different avenues, and it's going to be very, very amazing. But on a personal level, everything about you turns me on. Your energy signature is so pure and so beautiful sound-wise. It's like a frequency that only I can hear. And though I hear the other frequencies, and I know that you're super wanted by a lot of people, I'm giving you everything I know. And in that, I'm giving you a world within a world within a world to meet your world within a world within a world. And that's what I can give you. And I'm giving you you may have pentacles, but I have staves. And when these two meet, they are nothing if not equal. It is a balance. We have both mastered things, possibly, that the other one can learn from. But it's two masters meeting in this lifetime to change the world. And that's what I'm supposed to say to you, honey. Alright, now, moving on. Remember, they want me to keep saying this. Saturday changes everything, so hopefully we have this conversation before that. I don't know, maybe you are what happened Saturday. Who the hell knows? Although I will say this, I am going to do a Queen of Wands right now. If you want me, you better come get me. Come get me. I'm so non-egoist, but I'm like, no, motherfucker, you're going to come get me. You better start driving. Oh, that's some funny shit. Or you better take a flight to wherever you get to and then drive from there and pick my ass up. I'm in the 9th ward in New Orleans. This shit's about to pop the fuck off out here. I'm not kidding, man. This shit is serious. They fired half of all the servers in New Orleans have been terminated until this all goes away. In a poor city like New Orleans, where everybody gets paid $2.35, they fire them, essentially. And a lot of places didn't even tell us when we get to go back. There's no money. Nobody knows when we can get into this. We can get unemployment, but there's a catch to that. And then, oh my God, there's like so much confusion. And I'm still having to go to work. They want me to go to work today to check in to see if I have to work. And I'm just like, I worked all day yesterday, not a problem. I mean, I have no problem doing it. I mean, it's money, and I'm grateful. But honey, I gotta get the fuck out. This is New Orleans. These motherfuckers will shoot you for nothing. Now they're putting a pressure cooker into a situation with lower... Now here's the interesting part about New Orleans. This is why I think it's going to be fascinating. Is the reason I didn't kind of want to leave until the divine kind of went, no, you're leaving. It was because... and if you've been in New Orleans, you know that we've lived through Katrina, and so we've had a dry run at this. It's not like it's unheard of before. But we live in a state that's so impoverished, yet we are, I think it's like one of the top 5 cities in America of the happiest people on the planet. High vibration in a low vibration setting. And so there's a bit, I'm telling you, one way or the other, I still say this is going to be a Bethlehem, but so a lot of people are thinking this is the new Atlantis. It's going to be, it depends on how you look at things. Because I do see the flood coming, I do see that. And from that will rise the original Atlantis, but that's a whole different ballgame. Remember, worlds within a world within a world. So let me end this with this. Wherever you are in the nation, if you are being pulled into a direction, then go in it now. Because what's going to happen is that if you are being pulled out, it's called an exit. You are being exited from a situation that involves suffering. And if you are in right alignment, that you don't need to suffer if you just follow your instinct. So right now what I'm doing is I'm talking to my husband right now through this and in the 5D. And I'm going to see if he is ready, because if not, I'm going without him. And we're going to just figure it out later. But I have to exit no matter what. That is very clear. And so the divine is basically giving you a chance, honey. And then after this, they're stepping in. And it's funny because I'm just trusting the universe at this point. I know that I'm safe, and I know that... Here's the thing. I don't see this as a bad thing. I honestly... to me, part of this, I think that we're all going to be put to sleep, and we're going to face judgment, and then we come back, and then everybody has to put their shit together. I think it's just going to be like a very quick time moving up, and everybody being caught up. Either you're going to make it, or you're not going to make it. If you don't make it, you know, peacefully die in your sleep or whatever it is, but it's just that the lower frequency that resists it has a tendency to act in ways that puts other people in jeopardy. So if you're being exited from your city, if you're being told to leave, get the fuck out. It's not panic, it's not hysteria, you're not hysterical. I'm not even worried about this, but I'm being told to leave New Orleans. I'm going to trust the divine. So one way or the other, honey, I'm out. I just hope that it's with you. It's a lot harder from here on out to get back together again, because this is going to be a stalemate for a lot of situations out there. And so it's just better for everybody to just kind of take it responsibly. It is not you running. Running is when you are hysterical and you're buying into all the toilet paper and you're running around going, oh my God, there's not going to be any food. And then meanwhile trying not to run over a chicken as you do it. Like, there's a fucking chicken. Like, you're going to be fine. Like, just grow up. You're going to be A-okay. But ask yourself, what is this all about? Because the entire globe is on pause. That is not coincidental. This is a virus. More people died of pneumonia last year than will die of this fucking virus. So get your head out of your ass, people, and start looking at what's going on around you, because some of you are not coming back. Because you are too lazy to just sit and look and observe and look at the veil and go, this is not normal. The yellow fever epidemic did not cause this pandemic. This is different. None of these politicians are going to be reelected again. They know that this is suicide for the government, and yet they are doing it anyway. Ask yourself why. So, guys, read the energy around you. Look at life. It is so uplifting out here, yet it looks so chaotic inside. Everybody's housed in their houses, all terrified. Stop being afraid. Embrace judgment. You're just going to go to sleep. The horn will blow. You will go up and answer for your life, and you will either come back down or you won't. And here's the thing. If you come back down... and you come back down here thinking that you're being judged and that you are going to die, then you're going to die. You're not being initiated. There's two different mindsets. Either you come back and you did not make it to heaven, which is an exit, which means you don't get to go to Eden. You get to go to heaven, right? You get absorbed by the monad and you don't come back. That's all. By God. You absorb back into God. That's it. This is where you separate. Either you come back and you did not make the frequency and you have to pay penance and you're going to have to fight for it all the way through until the end of whatever this is. Or you're like me and other people that are just living our lives the best we can, and we got sent back down, and now we just get to kind of follow the intuition and kind of God's going to guide us, and we all know we're going to be fine. Like, you either one or the other, guys. Pick a side, because you're all facing judgment. Everyone on the planet except for the children. By the way, start planning, guys. Those of you who are making it through, what are we going to do with all these fucking kids? If their parents don't come back, what happens to the children? This affects children more than anybody else, because they're the new generation. They are the arc to Eden. They are the way we're passing through. But if this is a parents' battle, this is actually technically the karmic debt of our parents, not ours. But we're going to have to transition these kids to get it to them, to make sure they're safe, to make sure that, because they're not facing judgment. Their karmic ties are not as bad as ours. The warriors that are here are Generation X and Generation Y, and y'all, we're going to have to make it through. But the larger generation is going to be a lot of people that don't come back. And then there's the lower generation, there's going to be all of them that continue on. And so what are we going to do with all these kids, with schools and all this stuff? And start thinking in terms of longevity and success and rebuilding the world, instead of looking at it as the demolition of the patriarchal system. It is just a matriarch showing up in life and going, hey, I've been here the whole time. Let's fix this. That's it for me on Alan Altruistic Channels. I hope you guys have a blessed day. Honey, 504-515-4412. And my email is kahmoos@msn.com. Here's the thing, though. I wouldn't email me because of the way that that Saturn is going into Aquarius. I have a feeling that there's a lot of information that's going to get shut down. I would just call, honey. If it's you, you know it's you, and I would take the heat and the warning here because the Divine is pretty clear. I don't think the Divine has ever asked anyone to directly do a shout-out on the internet to their partner like this before, but because of what's about to transpire here, Divine is just making sure that you understand that it's time, and hopefully this gets to you, and you understand how much beauty is coming our way, and that we act together and make this move. Because right now we're kind of stuck, and I can't be stuck anymore. I'm gonna go either way, so I'm just hoping to go with my partner. Anyway, that's it for me, bye guys. It's like a love line. Hey guys, welcome to my love line. It's like a therapy session, but there you go, guys. And y'all start having these conversations with each other. Don't be embarrassed. No, most of you are not going to get, like, there are certain things that will get seen by the world when it's ready. Like, I know for a fact that I'm about to blow the fuck up, and I don't know what that means. That's just the way that it was phrased to me. But it's going to be based on work that I've already done. And so, like, I'm on something else. You see what I'm saying? Like, you should be on something else. You're moving into something else. You're moving away from something. So you shouldn't be reliving all of the same topics anymore. It's going to be something new and expansive. But having said that, it's a little bit like, whoa, that way? Okay, no, that way. You got to be willing to make the change, guys. It's going to be fast, it's going to be quick, you're going to love it, or you're going to hate it, and if you hate it, it's because you're not in alignment, and that is all on you. You do not have the church to rely on anymore. You can't blame them for your actions anymore. You can't blame the government. The government did what they needed to do because we're being realigned on a global scale. Now what are you going to do? This is all on you guys. This is you showing up for your life, and you're going to have to atone for it. Or you have to get initiated, in which case you're just going to be fine. You're just going to work through it, and you're going to power through it, and it's going to be a revolution, and then you're going to come out on top, and you're going to be you, but in power and abundant. I think that's pretty badass, but that's my personal opinion. That's it for me, guys. Bye.